you get called out into the lobby. You're on the floor, you're voting, and you get called out by special interests will ask you to come out to the lobby, and they'll lobby you. That's what they do in the lobby. And I went out there, and there were two ladies for mandatory vaccines, and we talked a little bit. I think one of them was from my district, and it got a little bit heated, and I said, so what you're telling me is that if you come to my door and I don't want you to vaccinate my child, you feel the government should be able to grab my child and put a needle in my child. And they said, yeah. And right there, it was just really very blatant, and I just, I mean, these people there's folks who really believe that the state is the parent, that thank you very much for birthing this child, but we'll take it over from here. So I also, on JCAR, Joint Committee on Administrative Rules, I was co-president my last term, and I did try to stop this requirement that if you want to opt out in the schools from vaccines, now I think you got to bring your child and sit through an hour of a doctor telling you and your child, basically your child, how bad your parents are and you're going to die because of this decision that they want. I understand it can be pretty bad. And I did fight it in JCAR. I don't know if any of you were there during those hearings back in 2014, but unfortunately I was not successful. And like Leon said, it really, not only do I feel that special interests have an inordinate amount of influence in the legislature, and a lot of legislators will just defer to those who seem to be the experts, and the little guys or the average people just don't really have that voice all the time. And I'm glad that you guys are ramping up lobbying efforts. And I also just think in general, now there's plenty of people in the state government that are fine people, but those who are making decisions aren't necessarily the brightest. And I think that we need to make sure that parents, I would always defer to parents. So I also wanted to say that, when it comes to choice for parents in education, I was president of a charter school. I really think that if a parent does not like the education their child is getting, that they should be able to have options. And I just read an article yesterday in New York. A woman followed the laws, apparently very stringent on homeschooling, and they took the child away. Ultimately, they came to take the child away from her home because she was homeschooling, no other reason, and they ended up arresting her because she refused to give her child over to the state. But at any rate, it is the battle is ongoing for parental rights, and I'm glad to hear that you guys are kind of ramping up, because we need to be very vigilant. So thank you all for being here.
I didn't expect to speak, but do I have 3 to 5 minutes?
Sure.
Can I tell my story? Okay. I have a couple different personal stories just to share with you. I'll try to make them short. I worked as a nurse at UVM for 9 years, and I did reject the flu vaccine for myself. One of the things I'd like to tell people about vaccines, just from a scientific perspective, because it's really easy to say, I don't feel like you should make me get a vaccine, right? That's just sort of a rhetorical position, but it'd be good to know exactly why you have the right to make that decision. We all have our own individual immune systems, right? We know them. I think we know, hey, I'm the type of person that gets sick pretty often. I'm not the type of person to get sick pretty often. When I get the flu, I go down hard. Oh, I only go down for 3 days. Whatever it is that you know about your own body, it's kind of what you know about your immune system. And every time you get a vaccine, it pokes your immune system, and your immune system has to program a response and kind of decide how it's going to respond to that. So the more vaccines that we add to the list of things to do for our kids, the more we're poking their immune system. Is it good to poke everyone's immune system in the same capacity? So, I think taking ownership for your own immune system and understanding that scientific view of it also helps to share with other people that kind of perspective, instead of just saying, I'm just against vaccines. It's helpful, and I feel like I have an open dialogue with people when I talk to them about, this is my choice, my body, my immune system. Beyond vaccines, I'm also a big supporter of just the idea of what does safety mean, and I deserve to have that information so that I can make an informed choice. When we talk about special interests like Tom talked about, do we have that information? Is it really available to us? I'd like to share my personal story about I have 3 beautiful children, but 2 of them were born with a congenital anomaly. I was very young when I started to have kids with my husband, and didn't take any other drugs, didn't do caffeine, didn't do lunch meat. I mean, everything they told me not to do, I did not do. So very healthy. I exercised. I tried to keep a good healthy diet. But I did take Zofran with my 2nd and 3rd child. So not vaccines, but a medication. It was very aggressively marketed by GlaxoSmithKline at the time, even though it was only on the market for about 10 years here in the United States. Towards the end of that 10-year mark was when I took it with my 3rd child. You guys have probably seen him, Harold. He has a limb difference, and Livy had a cleft lip. So around the world, right around the time when they took Zofran off the market, I was in my 3rd trimester with Harold. I had already taken it with him and Livy. It had been shown through research around the world in Hong Kong and other areas that it was causing cleft lip, congenital and heart anomalies, limb differences, a lot like thalidomide. I'm sure you guys probably remember the fight of thalidomide. We had an awesome fighter at the FDA. Her name was Dr. Frances Kelsey. She had passed this last year at 101 years of age, but she fought on our behalf at the FDA. She fought for safety, she fought for information so that we could make an informed choice. We need that back. We don't have that. Not only do we not have the choice, but we don't have the information. So that's something that I'm definitely going to be fighting for alongside parental rights. I think that those are the basic tenets of parental rights, is being able to first make the choice that we think is best for our kids, but how could we even do that without actually having the information that we need to make those choices? So that's a basic tenet that I ran my campaign on. I really appreciate all the support that I had here in this room, and we won't stop fighting. So thank you.
Well, good morning, and thank you so much for having me. I truly cannot tell you what an honor and blessing it is to be here with you today. And I got to tell you, Leon, what an incredible honor it is to be here with you today as well. I remember when you were in the House, you were probably one of a gang of 5 or 6 that really started to bring these liberty issues to the legislature. Started to do it, I guess, before it got cool for many people in the Republican Party. I want to thank you for setting that foundation and for setting that base. But many of you may have heard from me last night as I was making my rounds in the district caucuses. I just wanted to give you guys an update on a few things that we are doing in the House, but also a specific update on one way I think we can help you guys on an issue that I know is near and dear to your heart. And we're going to get to that in just a minute. But all that to say, as I was saying last night, I have spoken to many people in Lansing that have been around for 20 or 30 years, and I say this with pride. I don't say this to shy away from it. I've been very upfront about this. People have been there for 20 or 30 years that have said, Tom, this is the most conservative house I have seen since I've been working in Lansing and maybe the history of our state. I'm excited about that. And this is not about me, it's about the team that you guys sent to Lansing to represent you. I believe most of the conservative members in all the Republican primaries were victorious, and if you guys would have done the work that you did, there's no way I would have had the opportunity to be speaker or be fortunate enough to lead this caucus. So thank you guys for that. I want to give you just a few updates on some things that we have done over the past 6 or 7 weeks. I think we are off to a great start. As you may have read in the media, actually something they were excited about. As soon as I had the opportunity, I made certain that the salaries of every single worker, legislator, you name it, in the House of Representatives, that their salaries are posted online for everybody to see. Those are your tax dollars. Some people that work in the House were not happy about it, but quite frankly, those are your tax dollars, and you have a right to see what we or any of our employees are making. We stood with nearly 100 representatives, Republicans and Democrats, to bring FOIA reform, open up the executive office to FOIA, as well as bring more transparency and accountability to the legislature. I was very excited about. And then this Wednesday, I'm calling it Grassroots Wednesday. And this just hit me yesterday while I was talking to one of the groups, but it truly is Grassroots Wednesday. We've got 2 bills that we are out front on, and we are going to need a lot of help, because I'm going to tell you right now, the lobby corps, they're not excited about this. The first one will phase out and eliminate the income tax in the state of Michigan. And I think when we made this our first bill in the House, I don't think a lot of people realized how serious we were. And then a week later, I did an op-ed in the Detroit News, and immediately, as soon as we could, we teed up a hearing, which will be up this Wednesday. So if you can get on Facebook, whatever, push your legislator. If you want to come down here, would be wonderful. The second, probably the one I'm most excited about, on Thursday afternoon, my good friend Representative Gary Glenn from the 4th District introduced a bill that will repeal and replace Common Core in the state. And we are going to start hearings on that Wednesday as well. So I want you guys to know we are not going to let you down, okay? But one issue I do want to talk about, and that is this, if we want to call it crazy, whatever we want to call it, this administrative rule or order that came down in the last couple of years regarding vaccinations from HHS. And guys, I'm going to tell you, it's not just this particular issue, and this is not just on a state level, it's a federal level as well. A lot of these bureaucratic departments, they are just out of control. They are trying to do things, unelected bureaucrats are trying to do things without our supervision, and quite frankly, those types of rules ought to be legislation. It ought to come from the people that are accountable to you, and that being the legislative branch of government. So all that to say, when we were putting together our committee assignments, and I want to introduce you to somebody just briefly. Stephen, if you could come up here. I'm sorry, I don't mean to put you on the spot. Representative Stephen Johnson, probably the most conservative person that we have in the House right now. Okay, and I'm excited about that. I'm excited about him. He ran on a limited government agenda, and how much was your budget? What did you spend for your election? $8,000. That is unheard of. But when we were looking at putting these committees together, one committee that I don't believe we have utilized the past couple of years the way that we should have is JCAR. And that is the committee that looks at these departments and holds them responsible and accountable for the administrative rules that they pass. And when I looked at that committee and I knew that I needed to appoint somebody to that, I could think of nobody better than Stephen Johnson. Because we needed somebody that's going to hold these departments accountable, somebody that's not afraid to take them to task when they pass something they shouldn't be passing. So I wanted to make certain to bring Stephen here this morning because he is somebody that I know is with us on this issue. He's on our side, and somebody that I believe is going to be a very big ally for us in the House as we go forward the next couple of years. So make certain that you reach out to Stephen, that he's got your contact information, because again, I know he's with us on this issue, and I know he's willing to take the departments to task on any of these administrative rules that are outside of their scope. So again, guys, thank you so much for having us here this morning. I appreciate all you do, and looking forward to a great convention and great 2 years ahead. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Leon, and I want to thank Leon for all of his efforts to push liberty. I mean, he's got these regular monthly briefings that bring in experts from all over, and I really appreciate those efforts. I mean, we need folks that are able to talk about liberty like it's a good thing again, you know what I mean? So I appreciate the fact that we've got a speaker that appreciates liberty as well. And I don't know if you guys realize fully how blessed we are to have Speaker Tom Leonard sitting over at the House right now. I often talk about kind of the oligarchy that drives what happens here in Lansing. You got the Speaker, Senate Majority Leader, and the Governor. And Tom is an awesome addition to that triumvirate there. And also, Representative Steve Johnson, you know, he's already been reaching out to me on life issues and we're going to be doing a defund Planned Parenthood bill, a joint introduction on it. So, I see so many friendly faces out here in the audience here. Every time I look at a different table, we got different people out here. So this is, I won't, but it's good to have some friends on the State Board of Education now with former McMillin and Nikki Snyder. Former Representative Joel Johnson as well. So there's a lot of good folks out here, and former Representative Greg McMaster was out here a little bit earlier too. I think I'm in the right place. So I want to thank you guys all for your dedication to this topic here. There is, and as the speaker was talking about, an overreach on the part of government where they think they know what's best for your life. And there's a deliberate attempt to go off and marginalize people who go off and ask simple questions. You know, I was on the way here, I have an audio book on George Orwell's 1984 that I'm listening to. And I can't help but find some eerie parallels to what's happening here. There's these thought police that say, here's the way you have to think, and if you don't think this way, then you have to be punished. And I've been in that camp of being punished, right? So fighting against Medicaid expansion, punished. Fighting against Common Core, punished. And it's not a lot of fun to do that, but it's necessary. I didn't get into this job because I wanted to have a title on it. My wife and I were perfectly happy with what we were doing before. But the fact is, there's a lot of people that I think aren't getting their voices listened to up in the halls of Lansing and up in the halls of DC. And that's what this issue has brought to the forefront for me. My wife's a pediatrician, so she's always cautioning me saying, don't say get rid of vaccines, say get rid of vaccines. I go, I'm not. This is about fundamental choice and restoring that fundamental liberty that says, hey, I've looked at the same data that you've looked at. Maybe I've looked at more data than you've looked at. And I believe that our parents should have a choice. This isn't fit for my family. Maybe we got more of that. But it should be my choice, not some nameless, faceless government bureaucrat telling me what I can do. That's one of the reasons I fought so hard against Obamacare, and I have to say, we have some good folks lined up for us in DC right now. They're going to have some good policies on the subject of health care. Dr. Tom Price was just nominated for and put in position now for the Secretary of HHS. And one of the nice things, you know, that pen and a phone that our former president was using to kind of guide policies and write all the regulatory policies that affects things like vaccine choice. Well, guess what? That same pen and a phone can be used with the good guys too. And we'll do it in accordance with the law, not try to change the law as we do the pen and the phone. And so Dr. Tom Price is a co-founder of an organization called Docs for Patient Care. That organization, I'm very familiar with all the doctors across the country. We came together, and actually working with Carol too, on providing recommendations for every position inside the Department of Health and Human Services and working with the Trump administration on their transition. And we've got free market healthcare advocates littering the whole health and human services. So if we can kind of get some free market advocates in Lansing, you know, focused on what we can do on healthcare, I think we'll be doing very good. So I want to thank you all for coming here and bringing this issue to my attention. I'm assuming everybody here has watched the movie Vaxxed, and that sends chills up my spine when I watch that. And being in this environment as long as I've been, I see how this stuff happens. There is a deliberate, it is kind of like the 1984 Orwellian type of environment we deal with sometimes, and it's important for us to be the watchdogs of liberty. Unfortunately, I think it was John Adams that said that the price of liberty is eternal vigilance. I think it was John Adams, but whoever said it was spot on. We have to be eternally vigilant, and I just want to thank you guys for being vigilant and coming here today. So thank you all for coming.